Hey, I thought I'd show you guys where the EGR is on the 95 Mazda Protege. And if you don't know, it's the second generation of the vehicle. Be glad if you have the first generation because it doesn't have all this EGR crap on it.
So to get to the EGR on the 95 Protege, you want to take off the air intake here, and you got the throttle body here. You just take off these little steel cables here. You kind of pull on them and just pull it out like that. And once you get the steel cables off, you can take off these bolts, and there's two more down here. Take those off, this thing comes off, and that allows you to get to the EGR valve back here. It has kind of like a dome shaped look to it. You can kind of see it if we look back here. That thing back there, that is the EGR valve, and it's got two 12mm bolts on it. Just take those off once you get this piece off, and then you can clean it out, and that's about it. Alright, and this is all I got to it. I'm just using this ratchet here, and with the throttle body to the side here, I can actually reach the ratchet down there and pretty much do it directly. You can see that. And that's the other one down there. And once you disconnect the hoses and stuff, this is the EGR here. That's the stuff we were trying to get to. And then on the other side, got all this nasty buildup. Just clean that out and be on your way. And I almost forgot, guys, don't forget to replace the EGR gasket when you're doing this.
Now, this vehicle in particular had the P0400 check engine code on it, and there are a lot of things that can mean. That is a difference in intake manifold pressure when the EGR is operated. When it is stopped, it is too large or too small. So, there's a lot of possibilities for that. I mean, pretty much intake air temperature sensor, throttle position sensor, mass airflow sensor. It could be some kind of leakage in the hoses, the vacuum hoses to the EGR. It could be the EGR valve. A lot of times the air intake to the EGR gets clogged, and you have a couple of different holes there. Maybe one will get clogged, so air will be passing through, but when it does its check, you won't get enough pressure. But in this case, this vehicle, when I took off the air hose on this vehicle, I found oil all through the air intake hose, all the way down to the air filter, the air box. It was all the way up to the throttle body. Yeah, there was oil in the throttle body, completely saturating the air intake hose and the air filter box and the air filter itself. Half of the air filter itself was completely saturated with oil. And I'm hoping that's attributed to the PCV valve. In this case, I believe that's what the problem was. It doesn't seem to be doing it now, but I just took off the intake hose, cleaned up all the oil, and just cleaned out the EGR anyway. And we'll just see what happens, but that appears to be the cause of the problem in this case. The PCV valve is supposed to suck the gases from the engine into the throttle body so they can be burned off, but it doesn't appear that's what's happening in this case. The little hose that goes from the engine to the air intake is supposed to apply positive pressure to the engine, and the PCV not working, and I guess that's what happened. The exhaust gases were going to the air intake instead of the other way around. Well, they're going to the air intake and then to the throttle body, instead of the air going from the air intake to the engine and then pushing that to the throttle body. I don't know if that pressure difference would influence the EGR or not, but definitely caused a lot of oil buildup, and that couldn't be good. Definitely has to affect the air mixture, but hopefully it'll get burned off pretty soon.